Our movie begins with a professional sniper named Drasa, been on a mission inside a cave surrounded by rocks for 10 days. As soon as the target arrives, boom, he takes the perfect shot. Then she picks up the bullet casing and stashes it away. Meanwhile, we see Levi waking up startled. He is a retired Navy soldier living alone, trapped in a dull and monotonous life. That is until he receives a message from an unknown number instructing him to report to Camp Ben Dalton. Without hesitation, he grabs his things and gets into a waiting vehicle. Upon arriving at the camp, he meets the commander, who immediately notes that he's been retired for 4 years, yet still greeted her with 2 salutes. He replies, "Respect is my principle." She tells him she knows his record and that he has 113 confirmed sniper kills. "Is that number correct?" she asks. Levi smirks and replies, "No, it's higher." From their conversation, we learn that his father and grandfather both served in the military and that Levi occasionally takes on missions for the Marine Corps. She then asks him, "Is there anyone in your life right now?" He simply answers, "No." She presses further, "So no one who would find it hard to live without you?" Again, he responds, "No." That's when she informs him that he's needed for a secret mission. On the other side, Drasa visits a cemetery with a bottle of alcohol. There her father is sitting, playing music, but he looks frail and exhausted. When he asks how she's doing, she replies, "As usual, I feel better after seeing you," and hands him the bullet casing, just like she does after every mission. It's clear that she isn't happy with what she does. She then tells her father that she's about to leave for a secret mission that will last an entire year, during which she won't be able to contact anyone. From their conversation, we also learn that he has cancer and could pass away at any moment. She says, "When that time comes, I won't even know if you're alive or dead." He tells her, "It's simple. I've already decided to do it myself. One way or another, I'm going to die someday. That's why on February 14th, Valentine's Day, just know that I've done it. I've ended it." At first, she thinks he's joking, but then he tells her that he's exhausted, that he's lonely, and that there's no one left for him. She bids him farewell with a heavy heart. Next, we see Levi waking up on a plane. He had been drugged so he wouldn't know his destination. The moment they reach the target location, he jumps from the plane, completely unaware of where he is or what his mission is. After landing, another soldier calls out to him, saying, "Finally, you're here! You're the first person I've seen or spoken to in a year." Levi learns that the soldier's name is Jay. When Levi asks him what he knows about the mission, Jay replies, "Nothing. All they gave me was a map with no landmarks, just the spot where I was supposed to wait for you." When Levi asks where they are, Jay simply shrugs, "No idea. I've been here for a year and I still don't even know what country we're in." Jay then points to the Western Watchtower, saying, "That's your new home for the next 365 days. He shows Levi the hunting spots where he can find food and warns him about another soldier stationed in the Eastern Tower, saying, "Strictly forbidden. No contact with him whatsoever." He then explains, "The mission is easy. You're just a maintenance specialist. Every day you'll do a round along the western perimeter. Every 600 meters you'll find Valence Towers, automated artillery turrets. Your job is to reload them, check for hidden devices and mines, and every 30 days you'll run a radio test." Levi interrupts, "Wait, hold on. What do you mean by hidden devices?" He told him, "A type of satellite communication relay is installed every kilometer along the perimeter." When Levi asked, "And what exactly do they do?" Jay replied, "Isn't it obvious? They're called concealers for a reason. They conceal. They send out false signals to all satellites. They're specifically designed to hide the trench from spy satellites. And that trench, dear viewer, is exactly where they are." Jay continued, "There's no external communication here, no phones, no satellites. You're in complete isolation. In case of emergencies, there's an alarm button on the radio." Levi asked, "And who does that alarm notify?" Jay shrugged. "No one knows. Does it really matter? The important thing is, if the concealers ever get damaged, they automatically activate their fail-safe system, something called stray dog protocol." Levi frowned. "And what exactly does this dog do?" Jay smirked. "Never seen it in action, and trust me, you don't want to either. Just know that if you ever hear the air raid siren, grab your stuff and run for your life." He then explained that this place was built at the end of World War II. It's an old site, classified unknown to the world. Decades ago, an agreement was made to keep its existence a secret. Even today, every year, a soldier from the Western nations is sent to monitor the Western perimeter, while another from the East does the same on the Eastern side. Levi scoffed. "So, you're telling me that for the past 75 years, one person from the East and one from the West have been working together every year, just to keep this place hidden?" Jay shook his head. "Not exactly, but what I can tell you is that in the past 75 years, 13 U.S. presidents had no idea this trench even existed. Levi fell silent for a moment, then asked, "So what's the real mission here? Besides keeping the place secret, am I just supposed to stop people from entering the trench?" He replied, "No, your job isn't to stop people from entering the trench. It's to stop whatever's inside from getting out." Levi frowned. "And what exactly is inside the trench?" Jay pulled out a smoke grenade, tossed it down below, and within seconds, a chilling sound echoed from the depths. "No one knows what that is," Jay said. "No one knows where the sound comes from. The soldiers before us called them the Hollow Men, but even I don't know why they got that name. All I can tell you is that in the late 1940s, they sent 3 full battalions down there. Not a single one of them came back. Over 2,400 men riding on horseback were sent to eliminate whatever was inside, but neither the men nor their horses ever returned. In short, this trench is the gateway to hell, and we are its gatekeepers." Jay explained that he had learned all of this from the soldiers before him. He continued walking until he reached a specific location where he fired a distress flare. Moments later, a plane arrived to pick him up. Just before boarding, he introduced himself, only to be suddenly shot. The rope holding him snapped. And what does that mean, dear viewer? It means there's something big they're trying to hide. It means that anyone who completes the mission is silenced permanently, so they can never speak of what they've seen. A month passed, and Levi followed his orders to the letter. When he conducted his scheduled radio test, they asked, "Is everything in order?" "Yes," he replied. "Any enemy engagements?" "No." Just as Levi was about to continue speaking, the transmission abruptly cut off. He then noticed something scrawled on the wall. Upon closer inspection, he realized that every soldier who had been here before had left a message behind. One of them dated back to 1947. It was written by a captain named Bradshaw. Days passed. Then one night, Levi heard a loud noise. He turned to see a figure chopping wood. It was Drasa. She too seemed to sense his presence. Later that night, he saw her sitting alone, staring in his direction. Another month passed, bringing them into November, the month of Drasa's birthday. She sat alone, singing to herself. And because she was always reckless and crazy in every film she appeared in, she grabbed her weapon and fired a shot into the sky. Levi heard her and looked in her direction, noticing that she had written a note for him. "What's your name?" At first, he told her, "We're not allowed to communicate." But when she said it was her birthday, that she would do whatever she wanted, he finally gave in, and they introduced themselves. She even suggested they raise a toast together for her birthday. Instead of just a toast, she grabbed the entire bottle, raised it toward him, and didn't stop there. She turned on some music at a normal volume and started dancing. She wrote another note to Levi, telling him to dance with her. Levi refused. "I'd rather not. I don't know how to dance." When she asked, "What are you good at then?" he replied, "Shooting." They joked around and started challenging each other in marksmanship. But suddenly, Drasa sensed something was off. She turned off the music and motioned for Levi to look. When they glanced down, they saw movement on the rocks. Levi's eyes widened as he spotted a terrifying creature climbing toward them. He quickly fired, but the landmine detonated, revealing an overwhelming number of them. Drasa sprinted, firing at the creatures, while both of them did everything they could to stop them from reaching their position. They kept shooting until it seemed the creatures had retreated, until, out of nowhere, one of them lunged at Drasa. She fired relentlessly until it fell, but more of them were closing in on her. Levi quickly helped her, and as one of the creatures stepped on a landmine, an explosion took it out. Drasa got grazed on her shoulder, but she fought through the pain, continuing to fire alongside Levi. The two of them formed a perfect duo, taking down the creatures one by one, until finally they had wiped them all out. Afterward, the wild Drasa wrote a note to Levi saying, "Best birthday ever." The next morning, Levi went down to replace the detonated mine. But as he did, he noticed something strange approaching. Drasa immediately readied her weapon in case of an ambush, but when they got a closer look, they found a strange device, something unfamiliar. They left it alone and walked away, still having no idea what it was. In December, Levi made a Christmas tree for her, and they each built a snowman, writing the other's name on it as if they were sitting together. They spent time playing around, drumming a little, and just enjoying each other's company. Then February 14th arrived. Levi was surprised that Drasa's location wasn't marked on the map. He sat there writing a poem about her. He had clearly fallen for her. That night, he saw her sitting alone, lighting a candle, and crying. She told him this day was especially hard for her. It was the day her father had taken his own life. Levi couldn't stop thinking about her all night. By morning, he made a decision. He was going to her. Of course, that was against the rules. He rigged the RPG so it wouldn't explode when fired, tied a rope to it, and launched it toward her position. Drasa saw him and immediately ran into the forest, quickly putting out the fire before it spread. Meanwhile, Levi picked some flowers, grabbed onto the rope, and made his way to her. The plan worked. When he finally reached Drasa, the first thing he did was hand her the flowers. He stared into her eyes and said, "I never knew your eyes were green." She got flustered for a moment before smirking and saying, "And I never knew you smelled so awful. Go take a shower and freshen up while I make rabbit pie." Levi laughed, went inside, and took a bath while she prepared a fresh set of clothes for him. As they sat together, they talked. Levi guessed they were somewhere in Siberia. They spoke about their lives. Drasa learned that Levi was an incredible sniper, capable of hitting a moving target with perfect accuracy. His last mission? A shot from 3,241 meters away. When he asked her about the hollow men in the chasm, she simply replied, "We don't concern ourselves with them. My father always told me, don't seek the truth. It'll only bring you pain." They kept talking, pouring their hearts out to each other. Then the music started playing. Drasa forced Levi to dance, and he had no choice but to go along with it. After months of isolation, both of them had been singing the same silent song, "Loneliness is killing me." They moved closer to each other, seeking comfort in their loneliness. Afterward, Levi told Drasa that he had been writing a poem about her. They spent the entire night together. By morning, Drasa bid him farewell, and he set off on his way back. But as he was leaving, something went wrong. One of the hollow men triggered a landmine. It exploded, snapping the rope Levi was using. He plummeted. Without hesitation, Drasa grabbed her weapons and jumped after him. She found herself crashing into a river, struggling against the current until she finally made it out. Meanwhile, Levi had been hanging unconscious. When he woke up, he saw a massive insect crawling toward him. He shot it, severing the rope in the process. Drasa heard the sound of him falling. He landed on a strange red substance, thick, unnatural, and trapping him inside. Then something began to rise, sharp, fang-like structures closing in around him. Just before they could trap him completely, Drasa reached him and pulled him out. She checked on him, making sure he was okay. Levi, still catching his breath, looked at her and said, "You actually jumped down to save me." She smirked and replied, "Save your gratitude for when we actually make it out of here." Then they heard something approaching. A horse appeared. On its back was one of the hollow men. He charged at them, attacking relentlessly. Moments later, two more of them emerged. A fierce battle ensued. Drasa and Levi fought with everything they had, managing to take down two of them. But the third escaped. Both of them stood there, breathing heavily, confused by what they had just seen. The hollow men, the strange insects, the unnatural beasts of this place. Nothing made sense. Drasa searched for the rope, but it was nowhere to be found. "Looks like it fell into the river," she said. "The cliff is over 500 meters high. There's no way we're climbing it without that rope." Levi then noticed something strange. One of the hollow men was wearing an old US military uniform from the 1940s. Drasa nodded. "I saw two others, one in a British Air Force uniform, another from the Spetsnaz." That's when it hit Levi. He remembered Jay's words. 3 battalions were sent down here. None of them ever came back. And now he understood why. They decided to leave the area quickly. As they walked, they saw skulls and other eerie remnants scattered around. Levi mentioned that The Hollow Men was the title of a poem he had once read. He recited a line about souls trapped between life and death. When they came across a massive crack in the ground, Levi assumed it was caused by an earthquake. But suddenly, they heard a sound. They rushed into a nearby structure and hid. After the noise faded, they cautiously looked around. What they saw sent chills down their spines. Rows of skeletons sat motionless in chairs, untouched for countless years. Levi quickly realized that they had taken their own lives. "What could be worse than death?" he muttered. "That would make them choose this." Before Drasa could respond, they heard movement. A spider with a skull-like head scurried toward them. They fought relentlessly, taking them down one by one. But then the hollow men stormed in. A chaotic battle erupted. Despite the overwhelming odds, they fought side by side, fearing more for each other than for themselves. Drasa quickly found an exit. They dashed out, running as fast as they could, but they knew the hollow men were everywhere. They sprinted until they reached another location, a hidden facility. Inside, they discovered bizarre corpses. Levi noticed a metal cylinder clutched in one of the body's hands, with the words, "May God forgive us," inscribed on it. They spotted an old generator and powered it up. A recording began to play. A woman's voice echoed through the speakers. She introduced herself as a doctor from the facility. She stated the date, July 12th or 13th, 1946. She spoke about a secret alliance between the East and West during the final days of World War II. They had been developing biochemical missiles, weapons of unparalleled destruction. But then disaster struck. An 8.1 magnitude earthquake shattered everything. The destruction was unimaginable. The damage it caused to the facility facility was only the beginning. Since then, the mission had shifted from research to containment. Suddenly, the woman in the recording coughed, struggling to continue. She revealed that they were doing everything in their power to prevent the poison from the rift from escaping. She explained that when the earthquake struck, it destroyed the biochemical missile, causing human nuclear DNA to merge with plants, animals, and insects. She warned that anyone who remained in the rift for more than 6 hours had a high chance of infection. Mutations would begin appearing within 5 days. Before the recording ended, she said that they had chosen this isolated location to save humanity from the fate they had brought upon themselves. She apologized, whispering, "May God forgive us." Levi muttered under his breath, "May God take you." Then he turned to Drasa. "We need to find an exit, fast, before our 6 hours are up." They spotted a door and entered. What they found inside shocked them. The equipment in the room was far too advanced to belong to the 1940s. Levi powered up a nearby device. A name appeared on the screen, Dark Lake. It was a paramilitary organization. They weren't working for any government. They weren't trying to destroy the rift. They were studying it. They were collecting DNA samples to engineer super soldiers. Levi exhaled sharply. "We're here to bury their secrets." He opened a classified file labeled The Stray Dog. Inside it stated, "In the event of exposure, the entire region must undergo self-destruction. The only safe zone will be 4 kilometers away." Levi clenched his jaw. They had 4 kilometers to escape if they survived. Before leaving, Levi turned to Drasa. "There's something I need to tell you. If we don't make it out of here, I just want you to know I'm glad I met you. That was the best rabbit pie I've ever had." Drasa smirked. Then she suddenly remembered. Her ammo bag was still outside. She tossed a smoke grenade. As they ran to retrieve the bag, Drasa felt something coil around her leg. Before she could react, she was being dragged into the darkness. Was a trap? She struggled desperately to free herself, but before she could break loose, her head struck something. Darkness! Levi sprinted forward, but he was too late. Drasa was gone. Moments later, she regained consciousness. She squinted up at the strange creature that had captured her. "Just untie me, and I swear I'll rearrange whatever's left of your ugly face." She thrashed, twisting and pulling, until finally she broke free. She lunged at the creature, striking it. After several failed attempts, she set it ablaze. Just as it was about to counterattack, Levi saved her. She turned, sprinted toward him, and threw herself into his arms. Then they saw it, the thing that had attacked her. The name Bradshaw was etched into its armor. Levi's eyes widened. Bradshaw, the first soldier of the Western Tower, the one who had named them the Hollow Men. Levi turned to Drasa. "This is a biochemical missile facility. These storage rooms, they're our only way out." They entered the missile chamber. Levi explained that the earthquake had damaged the missiles long ago, causing leaks. Strange, twisted creatures fused together, motionless, blocking their path. They moved slowly, weaving between them, careful not to wake them. But then, Drasa stepped on something. A part of the creatures shifted beneath her foot. She jerked away, but another one latched onto her from behind. They were waking up. Levi slashed at them with his sword, but more and more swarmed around them. Thinking fast, Drasa hurled a grenade. The explosion engulfed the creatures in flames. Without wasting another second, they ran. They reached a stairwell and climbed to another level, where old military jeeps sat covered in dust. Levi grinned. "I know how we're getting out of here without a rope." He pointed at the heavy-duty winches attached to the jeeps. "We'll use them as auto-climbing ropes." They connected the battery, started the engine, and drove toward the eastern edge, where their rope had been severed. Levi jumped out, securing the winch. Meanwhile, Drasa held off the Hollow Men. Then, as the jeep whirred to life, one by one they began their ascent. But the Hollow Men wouldn't let them go. They kept attacking, striking with all their might. Drasa placed the toolbox on the gas pedal, letting the jeep roll forward as she jumped out to help Levi. They fought side by side, cutting down a large number of enemies. But then, one of them lunged at Levi. He barely caught himself before falling. Thinking fast, he ripped out the fuel tank and climbed up before tossing a flare at them. The fire spread rapidly, but then the flames reached the rope. The fire traveled up straight to the fuel tank. For a moment, their hearts stopped, but by some miracle, it didn't explode. Drasa cut the rope, sending the jeep crashing down below. They climbed the last stretch on their own. Once at the top, Levi turned to her. "We'll need to quarantine for 5 days, in case either of them had been infected." Then he added, "Tomorrow, I have a radio test. They picked me for this mission because, well, I had nothing to live for." His eyes met hers. "But now, that's changed. I have everything to live for." She smiled. "Then let's run away together. Go to France. Start a new life." He chuckled. "I'd love to throw everything away and disappear with you. But first, we have to destroy this place. If we don't, Someone else will come along and keep burying their secrets. They made a pact. The crevice had to be erased. At dawn, Drasa fired a grappling hook to the other side. Levi latched on and swung across, returning to his position. During his radio test, his commander asked, "Did you enter the crevice and activate our device?" "No." "Then the Eastern Observer, your next mission is to eliminate them." Levi had no choice. "Yes, ma'am." Then he added, "I saw the Hollow Men." His commander scoffed. "You know why I do this job?" Levi smirked. "For a paycheck big enough to cover your great-great-grandkids?" She laughed coldly. "No, the real goal of our research is to build an American army so powerful that no one can stand against it." And of course, that didn't bother him. "Of course not," Levi replied casually. But as soon as the call ended, the commander contacted her men. "Prepare for tomorrow. Levi is out of control." She had seen him and Drasa on the security cameras. "I chose him. I'll be the one to finish him." At dawn, Levi and Drasa executed their plan together. But then the sound of an approaching aircraft filled the air. "Run!" Levi shouted. When the commander arrived at the tower, Levi was gone. She immediately ordered her men deploy the quadcopter. Meanwhile, Levi and Drasa were running for their lives, trying to get at least 4 kilometers away from the crevice, the minimum safe distance before detonation. Enemy drones attacked, but they fought back, taking them down one by one. Then they reached their target. Levi aimed and fired at the hidden triggers, activating the stray dog protocol. The moment the siren wailed, the commander's face fell. She grabbed her team and ran. Only 2 minutes left. Levi and Drasa kept sprinting, pushing forward. They had to cross the 4-kilometer mark before, boom! The missile struck the crevice. The commander didn't make it. Levi fell into the river, losing consciousness. Drasa escaped alone. She quarantined herself for 5 days, waiting to see if she was infected. The days passed. She was clear. And then, France! She opened the letter Levi had given her before the mission. "If I don't make it back, open this." Inside a poem he had written for her. Tears welled in her eyes, and then we see her working in a small restaurant. She turns, and there he is. Levi stands before her, pulls up a piece of paper. "I want rabbit pie." She runs to him, throws her arms around him, and the film ends.